ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the big show. So Biden and Trump are locked in a tight race as uncounted votes remain. That Joe Biden, that's the guy most likely to beat Trump. Remember that? Remember that was the big thing? There it is. It's by the way, it's a huge turnout. Highest voter turnout since 1900, which usually favors the Democrats. The higher the turnout usually favors the Democrats. Yet somehow, wow, this look at how high it is. So when you get the highest voter turnout, that's supposed to favor the Democrats, unless the Democrats somehow manage to get even shittier. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised. I thought after this election, I bet next time the Democrats just run an actual corpse just to see. Vote for the corpse. Don't you see how bad the Republican is? There's a corpse, but he's not going to hurt you. He's a corpse. He's got dignity and character. Get this. Matt Brunning tweeted this out. He says, according to the exit poll, Trump did better in 2020 with every race and gender except white men. What? So the change from 2016, he got less votes from white men, Donald Trump. He got more votes from white women. He got more votes from black men. He got more votes from black women. He got more votes from Latino men. He got more votes from Latino women and more votes from all the others. Holy crap. So that's what happens when you do 4 years of Russiagate. So if you do 4 years of a phony opposition to Donald Trump, you actually lose voters. Isn't that amazing? Wow. Wow. Here's Michael Cohen says, I know a lot of Democrats are going to blame the National Party for what's happened tonight. But it's not as if Americans don't know who Trump is. Maybe the problem isn't Democrats. It's the voters. These goddamn voters, they keep letting the Democratic Party down. The voters just aren't good enough for the Democratic Party. That's the problem. The voters just aren't good enough. The voters just aren't worthy of a political party that is offering them nothing. Voting Democrat is a privilege. You're not even worth their platitudes. There it is. There it is. And who Joe didn't let us down. We let Joe down. The Democrats are bound to get better if you shield them from any responsibility whatsoever. That's how life works. So it's definitely don't do an autopsy. Don't look inward, Democrats. Look outward. It's always someone else's fault. In 2016, it was Susan's very powerful people like Jill Stein and Susan Sarandon and the Russians. And now it's just the Democrats themselves, the voters. It's not the Democratic Party. That's not for, believe me. And who would write? Why do I even feature a guy like this? Because this is who he is. This is a guy. He's a columnist for the Boston Globe, of course. He's also an author. He also has a newsletter. Who wouldn't want to sign up for this guy's newsletter? With that kind of insight? He wrote this book called Clear and Present Safety. The World Has Never Been Better and Why That Matters to Americans. Hey, everything's fine. The Democrats have got you. The view's fine from brunch over here. The world has never been better and why that matters to America. The world has never been better, according to Michael Cohen, the guy who says it's the voters who are at fault. The world has never been better and why that matters to Americans. Wow. This guy's like if a trust fund had opinions. I'm gonna make a bold statement here. Nobody making less than $250,000 a year would find this guy interesting. A candidate doesn't support anything and the voters won't vote for him. It's their fault. I think what he's actually saying, Michael Cohen, the guy who writes for the Boston Globe and the author of that shitty book. I think what this guy is saying is that we should just expect our elected officials to do the opposite of what we want. It's like, don't these Democrats know their elected officials are going to do the opposite of what they want? What's their problem? That's how his brain works. That got 2,000 likes, so 2,000 people who follow him think exactly the same. Wow. Okay. Hey, by the way, and there it is. The Democrats don't need to change. The voters do. Mm-hmm. And let's remember, Joe Biden could have offered 72% of the country, according to Fox News, is in favor of Medicare for all, government-run health care. 72%, over 7 out of 10 people. Maybe if he would have offered that. He didn't even have to do it. He just had to offer it. That's how corrupt they are. That's how under the thumb they are of their donor class. Joe Biden couldn't even pretend to be for health care for you. They wouldn't even allow that. He could have won handily. Trump could have also, by the way. Trump could have also. Hey, 87% of Democrats support Medicare for all, though Joe Biden doesn't. Literally, they're going to run a corpse next time. If Joe Biden dies while in office, they will run him again. And they're going to learn all the wrong lessons from this. If they win, it looks like they're going to win this. They're going to do nothing all year and blame it on the Mitch McConnell's Republicans in the Senate. Hey, Biden's opposition to marijuana legalization is at odds with most Americans' views. I wonder why it was such a close race. Biden says he's supporting additional funding for the police. After a whole summer of protests and riots against police brutality, the Democrats the Democrats coalesced behind Barack Obama's leadership and chose Joe Biden, the author of the 94 crime bill, to be their nominee, the one who exploded the prison population with black and brown people and says he's going to get additional funding to the police. And you wonder why he lost black people's votes. Oh, but he also wrote the crime bill, which gave us mass incarceration, more prisons, longer sentencing, escalated the war on drugs, and targeted African Americans. The loss of many black and Latino voters to Donald Trump would be pretty stunning repudiation of everything the Democratic Party establishment has claimed that it stands for since 2015. Yes, it is. It is a pretty stunning repudiation of everything the Democratic Party establishment has claimed that it stands for. After there it is. I just told you. I didn't know. I should have known this was coming up. Hey, Biden campaign doesn't consider Latinos part of their path to victory, political operatives say. This is real. Now you know why? I mean, the fact that this guy's still going to win after this, oh my God. If he was running against Bozo the Clown, it would be this close. That's how bad Joe Biden is. So here's a narrative. Black people in the Midwest and South showed out, while Latinos in the South and Mid-Atlantic voted for asshole, and the white working class once again went with their racist God King. Wonder who the Dems should listen to. Wow, I don't know who this person is, Ellie Mistel. Could you look her up on Twitter and see what her bio says, who she is? Yep. At Ellie NYC. At Ellie, 1L, ELIE NYC. Let's see what her... So she's there saying that black people did their job, but the Hispanics and the white working class, they're the assholes.
It might be Eli, justice correspondent at The Nation.
Oh, okay, justice correspondent at The Nation. This is amazing. So you see what this person's doing? Well, Dave Anthony says the solution is to pit races against each other, I guess. Solid take. That's what it sounds like what Eli's doing there. Pitting the races against each other. Eli works at The Nation. I'm going to guess he's also a Russiagator, so he's also probably a xenophobe against Russia. I'm just guessing. Yeah, that's a great take, Eli. Let's pit the races against each other. That's a great take. Let's not make the Democrats actually appeal to those people. Let's make those races of people into bad people. You freaking moron. I asked Biden about Obama-era deportations. He told me to vote for Trump. Biden says if you're black and you don't vote for him, you're not black. He's right. Jesus. Biden says Americans who believe Tara Reade's assault allegations probably shouldn't vote for me. He's telling a lot of people not to vote for him. Biden, Americans who think they're better off today probably shouldn't vote for me. Joe Biden's strategy of appealing to Republicans is courting disaster. So they did it again. They didn't go after the disaffected working class people. They didn't go after progressives. They didn't go after environmentalists. They went after Republicans who didn't like Trump again. Turns out there were no Biden Republicans. The whole drift to the right strategy was 100% failure. GOP voters went more strongly for Trump in 2020 than they did in 2016. So the Democrats would have did better had they not even campaigned, which Joe Biden didn't. And when he did campaign, he told people to vote for Trump. And Trump did better with Republicans. There's no Republicans peeling off from Trump. Your Lincoln Project. So this was 100% predicted that they would not get any Republican voters to vote for Joe Biden. This was 100% predicted, and yet they did it again anyway. But keep in mind that the Democrats would much rather lose while trying to get Republican votes than win while trying to get progressive votes. Democrats are not an opposition party, you guys. They're not. I don't care if Cory Bush just got elected and fucking Jamal Bauman and the squad, and they're there to fake you out. Progressives inside the Democratic Party are there to fuck you up and fake you out. They're not there to help you. Bernie Sanders' secret to attracting Latino support, talking to them.
Oh, en español, dígame.
Democratic leaders willing to risk party damage to stop Bernie Sanders. So this whole segment was going to be if Joe Biden lost and who we were supposed to blame. And it was supposed to be the Democrats and Joe Biden. But this is just who to blame for being this close. Democratic leaders willing to risk party. Interview with dozens of Democratic Party officials, including 93 superdelegates, found overwhelming opposition to handing Mr. Sanders the nomination. This guy. You see that enthusiasm for Joe Biden all the time, right? Mm-hmm. You know, maybe when an organization cheats a guy filling up stadiums twice and ran a candidate with so many skeletons in his closet he can decorate the whole neighborhood for Halloween, their first priority isn't winning. I heard an ABC analyst say that the problem is Democrats have moved too far left, and I swear to God, we're going to have two fascist parties when this is over. Wow. 72% of the Americans want government-run health care. Florida voted for a $15 minimum wage. South Dakota, Arizona, and New Jersey just voted to legalize pot. Colorado voted for 12 weeks of paid family and medical leave.
Wow.
It turns out a progressive agenda is what the American people want, but yeah, blame socialism. It's pathetic. And finally, from Bertolt Brecht, some party hack decreed that the people had lost the government's confidence and could only regain it with redoubled effort. If that is the case, would it not be simpler if the government simply dissolved the people and elected another?
Huh.
Okay. Wow, is it going to get shitty? It's going to get way worse. People are going to start being kicked out of their houses. And Joe Biden ain't going to do a fucking thing to help them. There's no more space underneath bridges in Los Angeles. It's all taken. They now have city crews that go by and service homeless camps under bridges. What do you mean? Well, they give them porta potties, they empty them, they clean them, they get all the garbage out, they hose down the street and the sidewalk, they take all the trash away. The government is doing this for homeless people, which is better than not doing anything. Why don't we just give them fucking homes already? We just gave $5 trillion away. You don't think we have a couple of $1 billion for the homeless in America? We do. Hey, everybody, this is the part where I tell you where all our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then this is why I tell you to join our premium program and get extra content, but nobody's got a fucking job. So just enjoy the video.